One of the most subtle pieces you've made deals with this. I think is the installation Gallery Lelong that was from 2005 called "If You See Something," where this idea of projection is being literally a projection. Like when we say we project something, we mean something comes from the inside outside, and so this question of visibility or invisibility of memories, bodies, things coming to the surface, memories coming to the surface, and transparency and texture is very visible there. Maybe we should look at this piece a little bit to talk about it.
The people who swear an oath to guard and protect the Constitution of this country violated my constitutional civil rights by arresting me even without a warrant.
I don't know. Are you really sure that this is what he said? That
I got lucky.
So they strip naked of everything I had. That's what they do when you go to jail. They strip you naked.
No, this is what I mean.
But fortunately, one thing they could do, they could not take away my faith.
So what?
This is what I'm gonna do. Soon after your phone call, I'm gonna call my attorney and I'm rushing down to the Hudson County Detention Center.
We are now inside that the interior in which we are becomes a metaphor for our own interior. So we are kind of seeing the world we identify with the interior. So we have to start asking ourselves, what does it mean for us? Now, when it comes to this projection, by breaking through those walls, drilling the holes through the gallery walls, creating illusion of the windows, of actually continuation of the windows that already are there between inside and outside in the entry hall, but multiplying them and creating kind of pavilion was a first step to actually recognize that there is a reality on the other side. But then the question is, what do we know about that reality? So on one hand, we are afraid of that reality to come too close to us or us too close to it, because it's a reality of the world from which we are separated by the wall created in very much by the government agency called Homeland Security, which is in fact equivalent of Ministry of Interior in this country from which I am coming under the previous regime. This Ministry of Interior is in fact created the wall between us and them, who were to be deported or kept in those detention or retention centers, or even hijacked or forcefully kicked out of the country without any legal grounds. So we are not aware. Those people have no access to media. We have no connection with them. We are afraid also. Fear is being produced through them. So the projection aim was to bring those presence of those people closer to us, but also to show impossibility of recognizing them and our foggy relation to that world outside.
What about in Hiroshima, which we could probably run through so we see a little bit more of this?
これは自転車の鍵です。焼け跡から自転車を掘り出して持って帰って、鍵だけを保管してる。そのためにこうやって袋の中で大切に保管しておりました。これは我が家の宝ではないですが、宝と同じように子孫に見せるためにこうやって保存していきたいと思います。この鍵は、私の父がいつも自転車に乗って、使ってた自転車の鍵なんです。で、この鍵は、旅館の方で、父が死んだ骨と一緒にあった自転車の残骸から取った鍵です。 鍵が、自分のものであるということと、それから歯に、奥歯に金が入ってる、その金は間違いない父親の歯だということを確認して、私の父のものだということを間違いないということで持ち帰り、葬儀に回したような格好です。
54年前の人々は助けを求め、後ろから火が追っかける木造がやられるカーラが沈む川の中に飛び込みました。飛び込んだんですよ。毒と知らないで、フォーシャドウと知らないで。その人間がこの川の水面に見えないだけ死骸が浮いてたんです。川の流れは神から流れて、そしてまたそのドームの前を通って、そして左に上がりますね。そして54年前は人々は川に飛び込みました。助けてくださいと手を動かしました。でも帰ってきません。沈みました。でも
The body is it's not a usual monument. It's the only surviving building, vertical structure in Hiroshima. Just underneath of, as I mentioned in this film, a hypercenter of explosion. So it's a witness, it's preserved, wounded body. So it's obviously not very easy to imagine what else such body could express, because it's already so much. So I decided that that should be various generations try to say something beyond what this monument is saying. Also the rivers being witness and sight of the worst things that happened. So that was the reason why those hands appear so much above the water. But the water, of course, is moving. And that brings certain cinematic aspects to this projection, maybe more so than the motion of hands themselves, because it's a continuing cinematic event. Trauma is being transmitted from one generation to another. Without speech act, without saying what one is hiding inside, that transmission will be going on. So in that sense, the interruption of this continuity is one of the memorial of this type of work function. But also the fact that this is constantly fresh, the water is fresh, provides a very different situation. It's a possibility of not the repetition, right? Of not having similar event happening. Clearly, there is a link between testimony, memory as the act of storytelling, and finding words and metaphors for what happened, and disruption of continuity of traumatic events.
One of the ones that I'm particularly fond of is one called Disarmer, right? Which is spelled Disarmer. It's a piece that speaks about how disarming things can be, but also how one can be armed or disarmed, in both literally and metaphorically. Let's see if we can put this up.
ディスアーマーのスイッチを入れます。
背中にある目で私はあなたを見ます。背中にあるスピーカーであなたと話します。私は今左を見ています。私は今右を見ています。私は今あなたを見ています。私があなたを見たくないときは目を閉じます。そしてディスアーマーのスイッチを消します。
直接話したいときはカメラを上げて話します。
はい、お願いします。ついてきてくださいよ。
はい。うわー、すごい。目が見える。ウインクして、ウインクして。すごい。
それでいきなり飛び出していったので。
あなたはね、じゃあ、その現象を見て、どんなふうに思う？
すごく苦しかったです。私としては、なんで生まれてきたのかなって思って。
こんな状態だからそんなことが喋れるよね。
はい。
面と向かったらね。でもさ、そういった苦労を乗り越えて、幸せになってよ。ねえ。そのためにはよ、いい恋愛をしていい旦那をつかまないとな。ねえ。はい。頑張ってね。
ありがとうございます。
でも、負けないでよ。な。
If the architecture is projecting out, here the person itself becomes a screen. But what's happening that's interesting is that you're actually making the body do something it cannot do. It's putting eyes in the back and also making the communication among people being not frontal, which is an incredible thing.
If we refer to Walter Benjamin, the angel of history, showing the interpreting clay painting like the angel being blown by the disaster and flying backwards. In this case, you could maybe see some kind of jet propulsion, speaking back the truth in a kind of parasiatic way, like this free speaker in ancient Greece, whose mission was to tell the truth in order to animate democratic discourse and in public space, of course, but speaking back in order to move forward. At the same time, seeing the situation in the back through rear view mirror. Right. So it's an angel of history equipped with rear view mirror and actually moving in opposite position.
So this is wonderful because in a sense it ties everything up to this idea that we began with Hiroshima, of saying that memory is not just looking backwards, it's not collecting the past, but it's something that actually is a process, and it's probably a process also of healing, in a sense, a process that allows for the work of memory to heal, and so to create a different kind of future, perhaps a different future.